Sorry, I'm not going to look at the camera. I'm looking at my block of notes, which is right in front of me here. I'm about to make a revelation which should not be taken as the absolute truth, but it should be taken as something for us to think about. We should take it as food for thought, things that we should consider. I'm going to talk about here about monad, this principle of monad, of one, which characterizes the universe we live in. The universe is just a single piece of creation which manifests itself in multiple forms, but it's exactly the same thing. We look at fishes in the sea, we look at the sea itself, we look at animals in the land, we look at human beings, we look at the forest, rivers, and everything that we see before us. We are actually looking, we are actually seeing, we are looking at exactly the same thing, but manifesting in multiple forms. But what I'm about to explain here for us to understand this principle of monad, the example that I'm going to use is that of the human body, different parts of the human body. And what I have chosen is to talk about the human hand, for example. Let's look at the number of fingers there are on a single hand of a human being. If you were to ask an ordinary individual on the street as a social experiment, you asked, how many fingers are there on a single hand of a human being? The answer, and the obvious answer, would be 5 fingers. But saying that, the human being has got 5 fingers, is saying that humans actually have got many fingers. It's true that we would say each individual has, 10 fingers. So if we multiply that 10 by the number of people in the world, we would have many fingers. But the definition of a finger, it's not the body part. It's not what we see. A finger, it's a function. The same way a leg is a function, a hand is a function. It's not the part, the body part that you see. The body part is the manifestation of that function that I'm talking about. When I talk about a function, I'm talking about the role that that particular body part plays. So that's the true definition of a body part. It's not what we see, but it's the function, the role it plays. So the correct answer for the number of fingers that are there on a single human, hand, is not 5, but it's only 1 finger. There is only 1 finger which has got 5 different expressions on a single hand. Wow. Many people can argue, say, no, actually there are 5 fingers. I understand that. That's what we have been taught. That's what we know. And we never thought differently. But the human hand has only 1 finger, which has got 5 different expressions on it. For you to grasp this concept, you need to imagine your hand with its 5 fingers. Imagine if one of those expression is removed. The other 4 that remain, they do not carry out their function as they would if the part removed was there. So that's an indication that actually what we call 5 fingers are not independent of each other. They are dependent of each other. If one part is removed, the hand is handicapped. It doesn't work the same way it does when it has got its own, the full 5 expressions. Same thing. When we look at the human body, we would say there are 2 legs, there are 2 eyes, we have 2 hands, we have 2 ears. But no, it's only one. It's only one leg with 2 expressions, left and right. Same thing with the hands. We have one hand, but with 2 expressions on a human being. It's only one eye, but with 2 different expressions, which is the left eye and the right eye. But it's actually the one single eye with 2 different expressions. This principle also applies to the animal kingdom, what we call animal kingdom. The quadrupeds, they do not have 4 legs, but they have 1 leg because in the metaphysical realm, in the divine realm, in the spiritual realm, the definition of a leg, it's not the body part itself, but it's the function, the role it plays. So if you look at the 4 legs, for example, of a horse, they have the same function, which is to propel the horse forward, to allow it to move from point A to point B. That's what those 4 legs are there for. So when I say 4 legs, I'm also showing that I have been programmed, but it's 4 expressions of the same leg, having the role to move the horse, to allow the horse to move from one place to another. If you look, for example, at an ostrich, has got a leg with 2 expressions, and on each leg there are 2 fingers. However, they are not 2 fingers. It's only 1 finger, but on that animal in particular, the ostrich, the finger has got only 2 expressions because the ostrich only needs 2 expressions of the finger to move. But the human being, for example, if we look at his leg, in order for him to function properly, he wouldn't function very well with only 2 toes. The toe must have 5 expressions for him to be able to move properly. So I'm going to stop here, and I invite everyone who listens to this video to take a look at this book written by this Canadian writer who spent most of his time in US, and he was the founder of the Philosophical Society in Los Angeles. His name is Manly P. Hall. He wrote a book which is very interesting. It's Secret Teachings of All Ages. I cannot precise the chapter in which he talks about monad, the principle of monad, that if a critical number of the world population realizes that we are not actually many, but we are actually one, then the current conditions we live under will definitely change, and change to the better, because at that point we would realize that there are no borders, that there is no African, there is no American, There is no European, there is no Asian. There is no African continent, Asian continent. What we see is exactly the same thing, but manifesting itself in multiple forms. Good food for thought. Say what you think in the comments. Thank you.